the ability to match supply and demand in a sector where you can build sheds. You tend to build them on the basis that you have a tenant to take them on completion. It's tended to be a relatively defensive sector in the UK, and I think that applies across Europe as well. So sort of typical hotspots through the southern Netherlands into the Ruhr, places like that. Mark's mentioned some of the new hubs that are developing, transit points for shipping from Asia. So those sorts of locations I think are interesting, and you know, it is a sector that we give space to and think is very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, possibly rather unhelpfully at IPD, we put logistics and standard industrials together so that, well, to tempt people to buy the data from us. But the detail in there does show, I mean, wild diverging trends. I mean, if you look at, there's a north-south divide, but there's more of a variation by property type, and logistics are clearly following more of a kind of a retail kind of trend, fueling off the back of the internet, and you know, your standard industrials, on the other hand, have closer ties to the wider economic outlook for Europe, so kind of seeing far greater performance setbacks. So logistics, based on our numbers, are delivering some of the stronger rates of return at present.
Does that mean that in terms of product, people are now looking at different areas for logistics because they need smaller areas closer into cities, and is that space available?
I think it's also looking at where the land is to create that sort of product. So sometimes it might be a conversion of an old-style multi-let industrial estate. In some cases it might be derelict land from industrial production. So it's a competition for uses in areas where you know, the various commercial uses and residential. But certainly if you look around London, there's been a fair degree of construction of these smaller units. I think it's not just about the traditional East Midlands triangle, the national distribution hubs. And you're seeing a similar pattern in Manchester, Liverpool, across the sort of central belt as well. So you know, it's a case of being selective about what you buy, but I think the opportunities are there.